All right, we're ready. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to April 18th. Holy cow, the year's flying by, and we're happy to see it. Sun is shining, snow is melting. We're getting on with spring.
Did you get any snow last time?
Oh man, I still got snow from October, still waiting out there to melt. But I am starting to see some grass, and I'm starting to see the birds coming back, and all that stuff's pretty exciting. So spring is getting closer, and I'm getting excited, even though it's still need a sweatshirt when I leave the house. But that's not the case for you out there in the desert. How's it going today, Michael?
No, it is definitely not out here. We are reaching 90s now, so it is getting extremely hot in my mind. But other than that, we are excited for the summer and then fall season to come back around. So after everyone was dealing with the cold weather with snow, we now had to deal with the grueling heat. But otherwise, we are good. Today, we're going to be talking about 3D PDFs, and you have some big examples. I'm going to do a little research while you're going through and showing some things around there. We also have I guess it'll be a surprise for some other folks on what other image we have here, which I think we still have the old one that someone sent you, right?
Oh, we're going to do that one later?
Yeah. Or you could do that now. I guess we can start out with that.
I was just going to do it now and get the whole shock and awe factor figured out first.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So in that case, let's just get on with it. Let's just get in there. All right. So before we do, of course, morning coffee review, we're here for everybody. So if you've got a question about anything, doesn't have to be 3D PDF related, put it down in the chat, put it down over there on YouTube. We'll answer it as we go. This is a pretty unique topic. So we're going to be covering not just Bluebeam Review today. We're going to be getting into a couple different pieces of software on the Autodesk side. So if you've got experience with 3D PDFs from something else, by all means chime in. We're not experts on things that aren't Autodesk or Bluebeam. So if you're doing something in, SolidWorks or Bentley products or whatever else, we'll hear it, And David starting off the bang with a question: what is the airspeed velocity of a laden sparrow? And we all know it's 12. So come on, why bother? Come on. So here we go.
Let's before you do, couple announcements. First and foremost, there are some license changes coming up for all of you folks that aren't on active maintenance. So be aware of that. They are going to end essentially the ability to upgrade with active maintenance. So with the active maintenance at that cheaper cost point to not pay the full subscription cost transitioning. So just be aware. That's coming up soon. There's going to be a date announced here shortly about that from Bluebeam. But if you want to have conversations about that, we're here all day for you all outside of this. So feel free to reach out to us for that. So that's for all of you folks that are still in review 20 and below. I mean, even below now is kind of past it's the Day of the Dead happened for that. What was it, March?
Well, they've extended the end of life until June. So if you are using 19 or below, it's not going to fully die until later in June. But for those of you with 20 or below who do not have active maintenance, you have very, very limited time. If I had to pick a date, randomly, because I haven't been told anything that I can't talk about.
Can you just look at a calendar and just
if it was in the calendar, I would, since we're talking about it today, let's just say get it taken care of before next week's MCR, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So before next time you join us here at 8:30 Central, just get your stuff upgraded and on maintenance. Trust me, it'll be worth it, right? Because they're going to end that ability where you can't upgrade and you can't add maintenance anymore. You're just going to have to go bite the bullet into subscription land, which is a nice, happy, shiny place to be. But maybe you're not ready, or maybe that doesn't fit your needs quite yet, or maybe you've got other concerns. But otherwise, just take care of it before next MCR.
Yeah. If you want to do some cost savings, get your bang for your buck because you already paid for that perpetual license. There is a time limit finally, even though there was one and it just kept getting pushed, but now there is. So great. Well, just an announcement for that. The other one would be, we are doing the Bluebeam boot camp again. We are switching up some of the courses. This is not a typical essentials course. So if you want to go through and use and get that, you can. That is going to be in May. We'll have DJ CJ post a link. If not, I will to that. That'll be happening at the end of May. So if folks want to sign up for that, it's essentially a class live with everyone. You can still ask questions. It's instructor led. A BCI will be teaching it as well. The third announcement was, oh yes, always at the end, feel free to ask us any questions in the Excel sheets. We'll reach out to you after or answer them on the next MCR. Jason and myself can't know how well we're doing here on MCR if we don't get reviews. However, caveat, if we get rated below a 5, please tell us why. Don't just say a 4, 3, or 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Now your turn, Jason.
All right. So there we go. Let's start sharing our screen and show some cool stuff. So you guys ready for this? Because I've showed this before, but it's been a while. And I bet you're thinking, you're like, oh, he's going to show a civil plan, isn't he? Oh, he's going to structural plan. No, it's architectural this time. Oh, but maybe he'll go to that one MEP one with all the superhero stuff. Nope. None of the above. We're going inside the body, baby. Look at this thing. This is a heart.
Wrong screen.
No.
Look at that thunder.
No.
Terrible. Terrible.
Oh, Zoom, you kill me. So there we go. See? Is that better? There we go. See, I get so used to Zoom and then or I get so used to Teams and then we go there. So yeah. Ooh, look at that. It's a picture of a heart. Mm-hmm. This is somebody's real heart, like that thing inside your body that goes boom, 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 boom. And depending on if you're watching a scary movie or you're nervous about a test or something, it does other things. But this also does other things because this is just a PDF. This is a PDF file. So I can zoom in, I can zoom out. Oh, big deal. But can you do this? What? Are you seeing this right now? I'm rotating around a freaking human heart to go see that sort of stent thing that they got in there.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Is there a way to take a section and see inside and see what that is?
What? That would be crazy. It's just a PDF file, dude. We can't do that, can we? What? We can do that? See?
I think it's a stent.
Yeah, look at that. So I'm taking a section of a human heart. Now, some of you, Hannibal Lecter people are probably getting hungry right now, but this is kind of weird. Yeah, we're taking a PDF, just a basic PDF that we deal with every week, and we're enhancing it with this 3D functionality through Bluebeam Review. So now this particular PDF was exported from a what's your wife do? Echocardiogram or something like that.
Echocardiography, so sonograms and hearts.
Yeah, things I can't spell. But we're taking a PDF and making it, or we're taking a 3D model essentially and taking it into a format that's familiar, right? A PDF. Let's interact with it. Now here inside of Review, we've got capability of orbiting, sectioning, as I showed. We can change lights. We can also mark it up and we can make some transformations, and we'll get into that. But I wanted to show you this because, for one, it's freaking cool. And two, hopefully this gets you started on, what really, going beyond just basic markups and make basic measurements here in Review. What can we really do to get more out of the software? Mm-hmm. Right? We have a lot of conversations with clients who are moving away from the design side. You get engineers and architects of a certain level, and it's like, I don't need Civil 3D anymore. I don't need Revit anymore. I'm too busy approving timesheets and going to bid openings and doing all this other stuff. I don't need the design software. So how can I still look at the model, right? Because the more you step away from that modeling side, the more you get in there, you're like, oh, I'm going to break something. I'm going to break something. If you get into Civil 3D and you start looking at corridor models, it's way too easy to break stuff. Well, here we can send them a PDF file. They can interact with it. If you're doing BIM collaboration and you want to see exactly where the clashes are, heck, let's make a 3D PDF and talk about it. So, yeah, let's dive in this a little bit more. All right. So I'm going to start in Navisworks. So I'll have Michael queue up Revit to create 3D PDFs from Revit because there are a couple extra steps in there. But since I've got Navisworks on deck, we're going to do that. Now, if you haven't used Navisworks, it's included with the AEC collection. So most people will have access to it if they've got AEC collection, if they're an Autodesk shop.
I always feel like when I see these, this is what they do out in your neck of the woods, which
snowmobiles
looks super cool. We just have ATVs.
They drag race these in the summertime, so it's not just a winter sport. But I just pulled up.
What do they still have the same trend on the back?
They put little wheels on here, and then they put like a smooth, like a drag tread.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. They'll race anything out here. But I wanted to pull up the snowmobile. For one, it's included with Navisworks and it's fun to play with. And it's, again, let's do something a little different today. So if you haven't played with Navisworks, this allows you like we can go inside the engine, and oh man, I can geek out on this stuff all day long if you let me. So inside of Navisworks, this software is meant for compiling data, right? I can add drawings and Revit models and IFC models, and it's kind of agnostic in a way on what file formats that you can put together, right? So you've got Rhino, you've got Pro E, you've got Inventor, you've got MicroStation, you've got CATIA, Smart Plant. Like some of these, SketchUp, SolidWorks, you can take all that design file from your team, compile it here in Navisworks, and you can view it and you can see how things work together. And from there, since we've got Bluebeam Revu installed, we're able to export this to a 3D PDF.
And I will say, I went and did the little Google search while Jason was doing this. So Acrobat Pro only allows you to create 3D PDFs from a U3D eCMA file.
Okay. We'll talk about U3D files here in a minute too, because we've got something else we can do with Revu in 3D. So instead of creating a 3D PDF, we're going to add 3D to a PDF. All right. So stay tuned for that one. All right. Now, let's say I put together a shopping center. I got my Revit model. I got my civil model. I can pull up something more realistic if you want. But we're having a little fun here. The workflow is the same, right? You're going to get your Navisworks model combined and appended, sorry, to use the proper terms. And here I can run my clash detection. What's hitting, I can do all my stuff, but I'm really here for my Bluebeam add-in, right? So since I have Revu installed after I installed Navisworks, it found Navisworks, it was available, so it added that plugin. If you already have Navisworks installed or Revit installed and you don't see the add-in, just go to Bluebeam Administrator, right? So you can go to your search bar, Bluebeam Administrator, and this is going to show you where your add-ins lie. So here I have Navisworks Manage 22. That's what's open. It's enabled. That's why we're seeing the plugin here. So I'm going to cancel this, and we'll go take a look at, what does it take to make a 3D PDF? So I'll go to my Bluebeam add-in, and I have a couple options. Create a 3D PDF, create a U3D, copy the 3D to a clipboard.
Yeah, and the U3D is the one you use to place it on the PDF as a live 3D model.
Correct.
And what is a U3D PDF or file? I asked Mr. Chat, who's my assistant, and for those of us that know who ChatGPT is, it is a file format that is standard for 3D computer graphics data, which is used for representing 3D models and scenes in a variety of applications, such as computer-aided design, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, so essentially it's a file format and standard for 3D computer graphics data.
So it's a universal file, kind of like a PDF.
Yeah.
So
and there's
IFC,
more to it,
PDF, U3D, there's too many. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
just leave it at that.
So there's settings you can do. I had that open briefly. I'm not going to mess with anything here because it's really not that difficult. I'm just going to hit create 3D PDF. And it's going to say no objects are selected. Okay, well, we have to select things. So oh, look at that. When you select things, you can actually see the thing. Oh, hold up. It's not. Okay. Now, of course, this is where I'm rusty. Select all. Boom. I've selected all my objects from my ribbon here in Navisworks. I go back over to Bluebeam, hit create 3D PDF. So it's only going to create the 3D PDF from what was selected. So if I did have a big model and I just wanted to show a particular conflict or a particular area of my site, I'm going to do that. So here I'm going to go. It's going pretty quick. Hooray, Bimbox. And we'll see what we get. So notice it is creating that 3D U3D file, and then it's going to go and create that PDF from that U3D file. And here we go. Ta-da! Whoa. Now, this is where things get a little goofy, right? The navigation between Navisworks and Revu it's a little different, right?
It's the same for, I think it's all Autodesk 3D compared to Bluebeam 3D, because Revit's different than this too.
And I know Fusion and Inventor are a little different too. So
is Civil 3D?
People aren't usually orbiting in Civil 3D. That's usually when things go really wrong. Back me up on this, Brian. I saw you were in here. If you're orbiting in 3D outside of the object viewer, you're probably in for some hard times and some frustration. Okay. Some people are pretty good, but yeah, as Sheldon says, it's a good way to crash Civil 3D. Yeah. So we're orbiting around, and this is why it's fun for folks, Civil folks, because we don't normally get to do this confidently. Normally we're like, oh, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. But yeah, here we go. So in here, same thing. Gas only, oil only. We can go in here. We can rotate. We can orbit. We can do wireframe. Like we've got rendering modes in here.
Do you want to show the model tree?
Yes. So in my markups list. So here, our good old markups list. We're all familiar with this. There's a little button over here where you can turn this into your model tree. So now look, oh, fuel tank. I can turn that off. Or so that fuel cap, that red cap right there, we can turn that off.
I know colors don't do well in changing, but
yeah. Well, what if we tried to change it? What happens? It's red. Can I make it yellow? Sure can. Look at that. So that's kind of cool. Actually, let's make it diesel. There we go. All right. So I can fully manipulate, not fully, I can manipulate some of the objects that I see on top of my model, right? So again, I'm not in 3D design software. I'm in Bluebeam Revu, and I'm changing colors of 3D rendered objects. Now, what else can I do besides change the colors? Well, I can actually move that. If I want that cap to be located just a little bit further down, I can manipulate that. See, now I've taken the cap off and we can see the threads there, right? That's probably not the best thing to do. So question, does undo work? Because I don't know. It does not. Ooh. So if you do a transform, you do not have an undo option. Good to know. I don't think I've ever tried to undo that before. So like we do here on MCR, it's all an experiment. Let's see what we can break, right? That's how you lose the cap. Yeah. I wonder if they put a tether on here. Let's find out. We can go in here and, we can go in here and lift it up.
So for 3D PDFs, Alex and Phil, I'll get back to your question on exporting out. You can't control the export of the columns of data coming from Revit because it's going to export out those, but I would like more clearance on what columns, I'm assuming maybe organizing your columns of data, like the markups list. Alex, 3D PDFs, I use them a lot, coordinating with my engineer. I'm not a licensed PE structural designer, but coordinating with our engineers on our modeling and what had been done from the design world versus that may not knowing how Revit works and just making sure things look appropriate. That's one way. You can always put them on a PDF themselves too as an embedment. The file size typically isn't that large. That's usually great if you wanted to get more clarification on a connection that's coming from the structural world, or any type of, dedicated area on the PDF in the design. So somebody can see it from a 3D perspective. That could be a use case. I haven't seen a lot of those. I think it's just more of we're early with this type of, modernization, I would say, of PDFs. And then also maybe not as informed.
Could be. And going back to the model tree here, it's a good way to send your model to somebody without sending your whole Revit model. So y'all know that when I get into Revit, things get broken. And this allows me to go interact with the whole model and still see what's going on there, and see the different families. Is that the right word I'm using?
For ours, yes, but yours are like assembly and body. It looks like that they have for yours.
So these are probably came out of Inventor. But I can see the different components. I can turn them off and on, but I'm not actually interacting with the original model. Now, the original model, if I go back, let's see.
And it is static.
Oops.
The export.
I was hoping to find, it doesn't tell me where it's located. I think this file is probably like 5 megs or something like that, versus here in Review, this thing is only it's 2 megs. So it's super small. It's a lightweight file to send to somebody.
Someone said there's crashed. I'd like to see sounds like you need a model health check. Guess what? We do them for free here at ATG. So maybe we can check the health of your model and why it may be exporting out and crashing. So if you ever wanted to get a model health check done or a template health check, and a beautiful PDF image of things that could be array, that's something we do here for free now at ATG. So you can reach out to us for that. Or it could be your hardware, but that would let us know if what's causing it to crash when you're creating the 3D PDF. Because I've done it on pretty large projects just to see if it works, and haven't had an issue with it crashing yet.
All right, so I'm gonna step out of my little snowmobile and my little heart, and I'm just gonna go to an actual real project. Sorry.
Do we want to show the Revit end?
Yes.
Okay.
So get that fired up.
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead. So this is gonna take a minute to load.
Okay.
I'll get caught up on the chat.
Yeah, there was something there Alex said about ACC. So just be aware, right? I mean, every single solution has their own solution, similar to, I would say, 3D PDFs almost. Because if you go to ACC, so let's go to ACC and show you, right? Because that's what we do here at MCR, ATG as well. We'll go to BIM 360. I just have it bookmarked, so hold on. Let me just go to my admin. And we'll show you. They have, as long as your model, but to play devil's advocate, maybe not everyone has their coordination in BIM 360, right? But you do have the option within your projects to go through and use some type of model in here too. Maybe I just put my full name.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on there.
Too many. but let me just go to. See if I have anything in this one. In docs, you can go through and view the model from within ACC.
Mm-hmm. So
maybe I don't.
You're in ACC. You're not in BIM 360.
Yeah, I clicked the
old
ACC
habits
project.
die hard. Oh wait, don't worry. The name's changing in a couple weeks.
Well, I clicked the ACC project instead of doing that, so you can tell the difference between ACC and BIM 360 projects just by the B or the little orb.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not going to go through and look for a project, but we all know, for those of us that are going through in ACC or BIM 360, that you can go to documents, you can click on the model or whatever the last update was, and you can view the options in there. You can also kind of do like a light clash detection in there. But how do we go through and create a 3D PDF from Revit was the real thing. So rabbit hole for Alex's question.
Mm-hmm.
Move this back up. Okay. So within Revit, you have the option of going through and creating a 3D PDF with your plugins. So let me just go to all and just do, that's fine. With yours was selected. So within Revit, it is whatever's showing in the view. So you could just do a selection of that specific element and then, just do your selection box. And from there, that can be, oh, it's because that might be a template on.
Yeah, so that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
What you have shown, if it's pretty complicated, maybe just do the same thing in Navisworks. Bring your Revit model into Navisworks, append it, and then send it out. But you will get more options if you do it here in Revit.
Yeah, so from here, you can go through and go to your Manage tab here, add-ins. And from here, you can go through and create your 3D PDF. Same settings that you had before with the 3 different options. Let's see. So this is use selection box. I guess you can deselect that. What's advanced 3D views? Let's check that out.
Yeah.
We'll use a selection box. Background. Oh, this is already going to give you those lighting schemes that you have in Review. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's already going to add views for you too.
Is that what the advanced 3D views does?
Yeah. So this was the advanced settings. So this gives you that drop down when you're in review of your 3D PDF, and I'll point you to where that is. Yeah. So that's giving me all different views versus just a single one.
Yeah, I didn't show that part on mine.
And then you just go through and say create 3D PDF or copy 3D to clipboard or any of those items. I'm just going to do this, save to my desktop here. Yeah, so it already gave me all these other ones. So front, ISO. I think I created that ISO, this one before. Home. There was a question from Liz to change your orientation points. I don't know. Even if
your orbit point, that little blue crosshair widget.
Yeah.
There's got it. I think I've seen it somewhere, but it's not something I've.
Yeah, it's still here.
Are you using your right click to do that, or your right?
No, right click goes show all parts.
But when you hold the right button and then orbit, it changes things.
Wait, no.
It was on mine. What? Or am I losing my mind? Well,
I'm left click hold, and this is how I spin.
Oh, my right click hold and my left click hold do different things. So my right click hold is moving me away from my origin point, and then my left click hold is pivoting.
This is right click, and this is orbit. That's too confusing. getting confused with that. This right one is a little odd.
This is where my InfoWorks takes over, because I've been spending more time in InfoWorks lately, and I get used to my left right.
No, take that all away. That's not definitely. Yeah, that's. I like the orbit more, but let's see. So, no. I don't want to hide hover bars. So that was the same print settings that you had for your advanced. It already came not as artwork, but you could have it automatically change to what it needed to be. So let's go through. Someone was talking about the 3D model tree. I'm assuming you're monitoring the chat because I'm not. What? So it comes in with what is part of the file it is itself. I guess the question was, let's open up let's close this out. I can't even move these around. So I don't know if these are defaulted. It must just be part of the file type as we're looking at this. We're all seeing my screen share, right?
Well, you can move them around once the file is open.
Correct.
Right? So, and what's interesting is I opened up a different model just to compare my 3D model tree, and I have completely different columns than you have. So since yours was generated from Revit, that's where you're going to see family and phase and element ID, part render. Whereas I open up mine, I see totally different information. So another good use for, manipulating your columns accordingly.
Yeah, so I would assume, and it's not even giving me a stylus to save the data when I move this around, that this is just part of the file type it itself.
Whoa.
Right.
Now, side note, while we're in here, you cannot do custom columns in a 3D PDF, but man, you got a ton of options for what can be displayed for metadata. So in mine, I've got like shininess and lines and primitives and snap points and triangles.
I do know you can't change the color because we tried that one time. Like, hey, let's make this magenta, or maybe you can. Let's do the column. I want this to be. It does work now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the type of family you have to use to make sure the material value is associated to it for the color. Cool. So in order to add these to a PDF, so let's go to.
Well, you want to add a U3D to a PDF.
Yes. But a U3D can only is everything in the view. So even if you're using the selection box, I think that's where we hung up last time. That does take a while. So compared to the 3D PDF, it is a lot longer of a process. So I'm just going to go through and place some stuff in here that is not a full model. That way we don't have to take our time while we're going through and waiting for it to load.
So while that's going, yes, David and Liz, I also miss Google SketchUp. SketchUp was so much fun. I used to use it a lot until it, turned into a paid thing. And there's a good question here from Phil. So while you're in there, when you're manipulating the columns in a 3D PDF, right? So you get your 3D model tree, you can go to manage columns. It shows you all the different columns that you have, families and types and shininess and all those other things. The question is, can you save that configuration of column?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Even if I go here and hit save, I moved element ID all the way up to the top, but even when I'm doing this and moving it, it's not giving me like a stylus here. So I don't know if it's going to save, and we'll just test it. So let's go back and open it. Nope, it moved element ID back to where it was. So, Bummer.
Interesting. All right.
But what was I going to do? This. Okay. So create this. Doesn't it have to be an IFC too? So I saved
No,
this.
it can be an IFC, and that's one of the things that I wanted to point out. So IFCs, I've dealt with a lot here because a lot of, that's another universal file format where multiple 3D capable software can export an IFC. So if you ever get an IFC and you're like, what the heck do I do with this? Revu, bring it into Bluebeam Revu of all things, and you can import that directly.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring this in, edit content, add that.
Wait, go slow down and go that one again, because that one's hard to see if you don't know where to look for it. There we go. Add and edit 3D content.
Getting the fire of clicking too quick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add it right here next to this detail.
And see down there in the bottom right, it's asking, do you have a U3D or an IFC file? David, I'm pretty sure you can undo that, but I don't think I've ever tried. Hang on.
So remember it printed out those views. So it's going to give me that solid. Perfect.
Yes, undo works for that, David.
So let's save this as to my desktop. Let's note before we do the file size of the existing one. So
there you go. 1100.
There we go. So we'll do that. Save this to my desktop because I know that's going to be a question. What about the file size? Isn't there like, I guess just explore folder. Apparently not. I guess, well, there is document properties. So 1 meg.
File size didn't really change.
No, because it was 1,000 kilobytes. It was about 1,100 kilobytes. So it gave it about 0.06 of a megabyte.
Yeah, not even a whisper. But there you go. Now you have 3D content embedded into a 2D PDF. So you can orient this however you like. So can we lock that view once we get that set up? Just like we like it. Can we lock that in any way? I feel like I've messed that up before, and I really wish there was a lock option. Maybe it's me being too used to AutoCAD viewports, and it's just a bugaboo. Ooh,
oh
David,
no,
good question there too. I'm not seeing a way. Well, we know what to do there. Make a recommendation or make a suggestion. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what happens if you flatten it? That's a question from David. Document. Is there a 3D? No? Okay.
Nope.
It's still there?
Gotcha.
How does it print to paper? Don't know. We don't print to paper anymore.
Yeah, we don't print to paper.
Okay, but if you printed a PDF from this, what happens?
Oh, like create from? Okay.
No, just just print Bluebeam PDF, okay, and see if it locks that in.
36 by 24. So 24 by 36. Landscape, please. And
moment of truth. We need a little drum roll sound effect sometimes. It's not looking good. Wait. Oh, that's perfectly logical naming structure there, Michael.
Yeah, it means delete.
Hey, look at that. That's pretty cool. It looks a little funky though. No, it's not bad. So yeah,
It's rasterized.
It's rasterized. Boo. Well, it's still better than nothing. So still kind of neat.
Okay, what else? 3D PDFs do not work on mobile devices.
Yeah. And they don't work in sessions? Was that right too?
I don't remember.
But and we'll get to it. We'll go back to another model. You can still do markups in a 3D PDF. However, you cannot do measurements in a 3D PDF. So you're uploading a 3D PDF to a session right now.
Yeah, I'm going to try. No, I don't want to upload the whole heart one there.
Don't you have?
It's fine. I'll delete it.
It's only 5 megs.
It is 3D PDFs. Why was I not thinking that? Because Studio Sessions mark up 2D or 3D PDFs in real time.
Oh, that's true.
As I remember the saying.
Yeah.
That has to be a stint.
Yeah,
it
has to be a stint.
Maybe that's how big they are. I have no idea. I'll ask my wife though. I think I did ask her last time, and she said, "Well, I can't tell you if it is or it isn't," because as an echocardiographer, you can't diagnose because you're not a doctor, right? But you write the report that the doctor reads and either agrees with or doesn't agree with.
Yeah. So there's a few other things we can do with it. So I was wrong. You can upload a 3D PDF to a session. There was some other limitation that I thought we found before that I wanted to show, and it's not coming to mind. So that's good for us. But while you've got a 3D PDF open, let's show that markup workflow because it is a little different, right? So put a call out on that stint thing and say, please clarify what this is.
So it's per view though, just so we're all aware.
Correct. Oh, Sheldon has the answer. It's Spider-Man's heart, and those are webs.
So
Sheldon, you're so smart. You must be certified in Bluebeam or something.
It takes basically a snapshot of that view where you're at, essentially allowing you to mark up in a plane of the 3D view. Does that make sense? I think I'm trying to put it in the most basic aspect of it, because then you can go back and hit escape after it's been placed, and you're going to click on that view it's saved to access your markup, right? It's just creating a snapshot, essentially giving it an orb in 3D so that you can go and return back to there. So just being aware of what it's doing. So you do have the option to mark up, and you can see the markup view here. And interesting enough, in 3D for our sessions, it's actually giving it the username. So here's the markup view, and then there's the markups. So cool.
So pretty cool stuff. And yeah, as Raymond said, it's better than carrying around a set of flattened print drawings with coffee stains and donut crumbs in the construction trailer. Absolutely. I mean, this one doesn't even have cigarette smoke stains or burn holes in it. So it works pretty good. For those of you who have been in a job site trailer, I think I just painted an image in my head that I can see and smell. So,
and just be aware that if you are using 3D PDFs, you're not able to view those ones on the iPad. So you would need a desktop
Or a Windows-based tablet.
Or Windows-based. I know they have those big at XCon. They had those big screens that are Windows-based. That'd be cool to have in
the
a trailer.
plant tables.
Yeah, the plant tables. That's what we need. If you haven't seen those, those were pretty amazing.
Yeah, Doug, weren't you looking to get one of those for your firm?
Doug was going to get one at his house.
Oh, I'm sure he's got one in the back of his car, just ready to go. Yeah, they would be good for a lot of things. You know, if you ever watch any of some of the marketing videos from Autodesk and Bluebeam where they show like these giant screen TVs like on the job site, you know, strapped down to a beam, and there's not even a roof or HVAC or anything installed yet, and it's like they really got a big 40-inch monitor out there, and everybody's whatever. But yeah, we need edge banders. We're still behind.
So iPad, is there any app? I haven't looked into any app. I just know it's a limitation of the U3D file. So there may be something out there. Because I mean, come on our phone, I could take on my iPhone, I could go through and do a light LiDAR scan and view a building that way. Why can't I view a 3D PDF?
True.
Come on, technology.
Catch up.
What are we doing?
Catch up. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, for sure.
Yeah, LiDAR on your phone. Come on, that's crazy. Let's see.
Yeah, it's not really computer issue. So there was a question like, how does this work on a mere mortal machine and not a BIM box? It's still a lightweight file. It should work just fine. It's not crazy rendering, you know, and the file size is fine. This will work on just about any device. It's the creation of the 3D PDF that we saw Michael do and myself do that may have been enhanced by the BIM box. But the actual rotating and moving around, I think we're
well, okay. So we do a process of elimination. If you have a larger model, contact us. We'll do a free model haul check. And if everything's green, good to go, then maybe it's our hardware. But if everything's, you know, not so good, we can definitely go through and troubleshoot.
Surfaces versus solids could be. I know that I created, you know, so Civil Guy, we don't have that 3D PDF capability from Civil 3D, but you can, or InfraWorks, which is the software I was referencing earlier. But I can export InfraWorks into Navisworks and get a 3D PDF from that. So I have my whole civil, you know, plan done in a 3D PDF, but it doesn't show up in color. It doesn't show up with the materials. It doesn't quite know what to do. But as you've seen us do today, you can manipulate through the 3D model tree colors and things like that. So you can make it a little better, but it's not nearly as seamless as what we saw from like straight Navisworks file straight into Revu.
Yeah, and just like Liz was saying, she did it on a fairly larger project. So I mean, it just comes down to design standards that you've put in place within your design environment. But yeah, I mean, I can quickly go to my add-ins from here. That's the U3D. It's not what I wanted. I wanted, and that was fairly quick too. Go to my desktop.
Yep.
We'll do.
Oh yeah.
The more the better.
We're going to set up an intervention here pretty quick, and we're going to spend the whole MCR just going through your desktop, cleaning up all the crap that you said you were going to delete from previous episodes.
The good old days of like storing things clean in a file structure with its proper naming has gone out the window as someone that does demos. I'm sorry.
It's a junk drawer. I get it.
It is just throw it and make it the most awkward naming convention ever, so you remember to delete it.
We need interns to come clean up our inboxes and our desktops. Like, at what point do we have to, you know, reach that level of success? Does that happen at like Fortune 500 companies?
I don't know, because I tried to naming it delete. Maybe I just create a delete folder. I delete every single day. What a genius thing. I don't know.
We shall see. Temporary delete often where I dump stuff. There you go. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, that didn't take that very long for that full model, but the issue is it does take a couple seconds to render. Highly recommend so Revu doesn't crash. While it says loading, don't click and move in until it's done loading, because I've done that. Okay.
Hold up. I need to pause for this big brain moment that Alex just dropped here. Write a script that kills the delete folder contents every time you start the computer.
Oh,
there you go.
But I think that needs access to your boot drive, which I don't know if our IT allows us to access the boot drive.
When Windows loads, it'll do its thing. Power automate. There's toys.
Alex, does it have to be on the boot drive? Like when it boots, it initiates a script.
Search for 222 star.222 or whatever. Yeah, there's got to be a way. People smarter than us will figure this out.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like if it's initiating the script upon booting the computer, so that has to be on the boot end, and I don't know if our IT allows us to have that much. We could just ask our IT team
to do that for us.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So coming back full circle, this is done. Same thing down here. Have all my elements in the 3D model tree. I know there was the question of saving these, but can you manage? Oh, there's a lot more. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots and lots of metadata. Holy cow.
This is all of the parameters. Okay. I'm not going to go through wormhole, but you can do a summary to a CSV file. So, let's say you needed to get data out of, this is just like a catch because you could have a tool that exports out to Excel, right? One of the CTC tools does it. It's called Spreadsheet Link. But let's say you wanted to use it from the 3D PDF. You could. This is static though. CTC tool is not static. Let me save to here. And you can create that CSV file of all of your export of data. So if that was something you ever needed to go through and do, and then you can team up with Mr. Vince and Doug for Power Query if you wanted to query that data. Apparently, this doesn't open up right after. I'm sitting here waiting. Did I not hit save? There it is. I did. So apparently it doesn't open up. There's probably a checkbox that says open up, Michael. But yeah, you could do Power Query things, all the good stuff that you can in with Excel. So those folks that are very well versed in Excel, you got your data.
Yeah, I mean, you could pull counts from here. You could do lots of stuff in here.
Yeah, but to like that end, to that reply, Mr. Early, I would say you schedule it in Revit, right? Because it is a database. But other things that you wanted, maybe you can get out.
You also wouldn't have to. You could take the whole model, export the 3D model PDF model tree, and then have Power Query go in and say, hey, how many W14 by 30s do I have?
Yeah, but
you could do that, right?
So
in the chat, folks.
Yeah, in Revit, I can just do that directly from here, and anything that gets added, it would populate the data. So
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
a Revit thing.
Yeah, you
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it would be a certain case scenario. Maybe you aren't using the full capabilities of Revit. Someone sends you a 3D PDF, like understanding that you have that data. Anything outside of this realm that you just wanted to get exported out.
Yeah, there we go. Corey at the last job was using it for takeoffs for RCP pipe. So perfect.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes left of today's episode. What other questions do you have for us? What other ideas you have coming up? It is getting close to the end of the month. We do have one more episode in April, which means I got to get busy making our topics for May and June. So if you've got ideas, what do you want to see? What do you want us to cover again? What do you want us to revisit? What did we screw up that you want us to redo? Any of that stuff. Yep. Let us know, because I will add that to our list to do for for June. So I see our next week's episode is going to be all about document comparison. So we're going to dive deeper into comparison versus overlay and combining them and when to do it and how to do it and how to do certain things with that, because it's underutilized, but I've demoed it recently and people were like, wait a minute, can it do this? I'm like, yeah, it can do that. And then it got my wheels turning. Like we've never shown that. So we're going to dive deeper into those seemingly simple topics.
There's about 4 different ways you can overlay, maybe 5. Maybe we should take a tally to compare documents or overlay documents. There are 2 different commands, but just saying in terms of what you can do, there's 2 built-in ones. You could do 2 separate ones. One that Liz showed us, one that Alex told me about, the Control-Shift-V in the same place, which I had no idea that was a Windows thing. So there's a bunch of stuff that we have from things that we know internally, but the added value is from people out in the MCR community that have given us some tips along the way. Because Jason and myself are not experts, but we're here to talk about all things Bluebeam. So
absolutely. Oh, in that case, can you tell me how to open a sets file on the iPad? You know, the iPad has come up more recently, and I think it's time that Michael and I blow the dust off of ours and do an iPad.
I'll have to go get one because I sent one out to Dustin.
Oh no,
who's our other BCI. So just let me know when we're deciding to do that, because I'll just have to go and pick one up.
Yeah, Liz, I can't get cloud to work properly on the iPad either. I've downloaded the app. Every time I open it, it's blank. So
mine works.
Really?
Well, on my old one that I no longer have. It was a newer iPad mini though.
Okay.
It wasn't an old one. My old iPad, because I used to have an older one and I tried getting it to work on there and I had like a demo on it with a client. It just wasn't working. And that was like a Gen 2, I think, mini iPad. The one I just had that we had here from ATG was a newer one. I think it was like Gen, I don't even want to speak, but I know the first one was like a Gen 2. It was terrible.
Okay. Liz, I'm on it. So I'll that's on my list. I'm gonna see if I can get the iPad stuff figured out, because there's got to be something that we're doing wrong. So
yes.
And then once we do that, we'll revisit iPad. Now, in the past, it's been a while. We've been doing this for over 2 years now, for crying out loud. In the past, we did an iPad versus Surface thing, and Surface Pro. My Surface Pro hasn't been fired up in 6 months. It's still an older one. It doesn't have, I don't even know if it has Review 20 installed on it anymore. But
I was going to say yes.
That comparison wouldn't be fair anymore. I have no interest in buying a new Surface Pro. So we'll see how we go.
I was going to say yes to the Chrome thing because it bumps you back into the app from Safari. So I haven't tested the Chrome part. The other one is, Safari doesn't work either. Yeah, Safari will bump you back into the app. It's ridiculous because I tried that from my phone and it just bumps you back into the app.
We'll figure this out and we'll do a mobile device. So this one won't be early in May. Yeah. I'll push this one later on to give us time to work on that. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll do it later because I have to go and get one and do all that stuff. So
need a BIMbox iPad. Ooh, wouldn't that be cool? It'd be an inch or two thick because, whatever, but it'd be pretty cool.
We could still do the Surface Pro, but see, the Surface Pro, even when you're out in the field, you'll have to have internet connection. I don't know. Well, with the Android app being released for cloud, how does that function? I guess the Surface Pro isn't Android, so it leverages Windows. So you still would need internet connection to get into cloud because it's not an application. The only parts that get applications are the iPads and the iPhones and Androids.
Okay.
Right?
I have an idea. All right.
Well, okay. I guess we won't get into the woods on this one.
Yeah, we won't get in the woods, but that's some good banter. So as always, that's what we're here for. It's not always going to be lessons. We're going to have some banter. We're going to talk back and forth. We're chatting with you all. So by all means, if you've got an idea or a workflow that you want to share, you're welcome to join us. Right. So let us know. Hop in the LinkedIn channel. So we do have a LinkedIn group. or you'll see us over there on there's a Facebook Bluebeam user group, and there's U Chapter 2, and there's a bunch of other things. But if you want to get more involved with the Bluebeam community, this is a good place to start, and we'll go from there. So
yep.
As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next Tuesday. And before then, you're going to take care of your upgrades and your maintenance, right?
Yes, because it needs to be done before next MCR. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that, Jason. I'll take care of that with you after this.
All right. Take care, everybody.